Hi, I'm Gary from M Audio. Pro Tools is the industry standard for doing audio production on software. There's the mixing screen, so you can see this has a little mixing strip, a little fader. If I were to grab the fader, I could just grab it like this and move it up and down, and it's just like a mixer. This is called the edit screen. There's a really wonderful window as well called the workspace browser. When I open up audio files, it actually has these cool little things here. And what you can do is you can actually look at these different things and you can go, oh, well, that's kind of interesting. Let's see what that is. Ah, well, that's a sample of a drummer, okay? Now you notice it's a 4-bar phrase. So say your friend calls and he wants you to do the soundtrack for a movie. My heart rate is 62.5 beats per minute, and I want it to be exactly double that. And I want it to sound really synthy and really electronic. But it has to be also driving beat, right? So you can just take that file, grab it, drag it into Pro Tools, right into the edit screen. It creates a track for you automatically. Now wait a second, what's that little blip? Not only is the blip kind of an annoying sounding blip, but it's also not even in time with that drum beat. We call that a click track, and it's annoying on purpose because you want to make sure that it's the tempo that you're working with. You want everything to work with that tempo. If you were to go and say, I need to set the tempo, you kind of go over here and like one of these has got to be, oh, tempo, right? And we're going to change that to 125 beats per minute. So this isn't MIDI, this isn't something where you can just put it into a little machine and like change it around. It's actually audio, it's a piece of recorded audio. So what do? We use something that we call elastic audio. You can stretch it or condense it. Stretch it or condense it. This is a 4-bar phrase that we're working with, 4-bar sample. You can see that this is not quite out to that 5th bar, is it? That's where our problem is. Right now I have, we call it the Smart tool. So if you press this little button, this tool will do 3 different things. You can either select something, or you can grab the whole region and move it like that, and you can also trim. So the trim tool, we're going to take a look at it. Well, standard means we just trim, that makes sense. Looping, well, that would loop it, right? So if you pulled it out, it would just keep looping your bar. Time, compression, and expansion. We call it TCE for short. I need that thing to now be, so, okay, it's right with that click track, right? Oh, it didn't change, but you notice I didn't change the pitch of anything? The pitch didn't change, the sound didn't change, the effects, the basic timbre of the sound, nothing changed, only the tempo. So what kind of synth are we going to use? It's called a software synth. So how do we do that? It's pretty simple. We're going to need to make a new track, put an instrument on it. You go to the track menu, click it, we probably want a new track. We'll make it stereo just in case it's the synthesizer we find is stereo. And then you go down here to instrument track. So I hit the create button. You'll notice that this has a little keyboard on it because this is now a MIDI track. We're going to start controlling an instrument. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a multi-channel plugin. Going to go down to instruments. We have a lot of different instruments here, but I'm going to take the one that actually comes free with Pro Tools. You have a synthesizer called Expand. It's actually what we call a quad synth, which means you can have 4 sounds going simultaneously off this one device. As far as picking sounds, we just go over here to this little arrow, and this is how many sounds come with this synthesizer for free with Pro Tools. So you look at all these different things that we have here. And then let's say you go up to pianos, electric pianos, Fender Suitcase, Fender Rose piano. Find something that's a lot more synthy because the director said I need it to be electronic. Sample hold pad 2. That sounds pretty darn electronic, doesn't it? Let's see what it is. It's right in sync with the drums because everything that we do on this synthesizer is locked tempo-wise to whatever is happening in our session, which happens to be at that lovely 125 beats per minute. You hit the record button on your track that you want to record. All right, so we'll go ahead. We got it going. And since it's an instrument part, this thing will just keep looping. I have it on loop play right now because it's an easy way to work. So it'll just keep looping until I actually start playing something, and then it'll actually record. So I'll go ahead and start this. Since I know I want just that one little note there, I'm going to take this and I'm going to duplicate it a couple times. But now we need a driving bass part. We need something that's actually going to hold this thing down. So what do we need? We need another instrument, right? So we'll go over and we'll create another track. So we go to track, new, mono track will do for now. We'll hit instrument. create a new track. All right, so once again, we'll go to expand, go down to instrument, click up expand, and this time we need to go down to where it says basses. So I'm going to choose hard finger bass. So you see all these little buttons along here. We call this real-time quantization. All these different things can help you edit, change the performance that you did. A few things are a little off. So I could go and change all those, but I can also just turn on the quantizing. I can set it to eighth notes. So what it's going to do, it's going to take all those notes and drop it onto an eighth note. So let's see if I can add the guitar thing on. Let's listen to this. Drag it into your session once again. Okay. Now everything's a little bit out of mix right now, right? So let's go to the mix window and see what's going on. Meanwhile, I showed you those two windows, but since then, with each new track, it's been populating the mix window at the same time. So now you have a mixer that you can actually work with. And what we're going to do too is we're going to do a little trick called panning. So I'm going to take the synthesizer, put a little bit more in this speaker, take the guitar, put a little bit more in this speaker, keep the bass right in the middle, turn the drums up a little bit. Okay, now it's starting to sound like a mix, right? Okay, so you pull that out for the director. He's like, that's brilliant. Everything that I've talked about here is available here at the J&R store on Park Row, or you can also go to jr.com.